Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here today with my dear friend, Jesse Chor, my new dear friend. Welcome, Jesse.
Thanks, Debbie. Happy and excited to be here.
I know I'm so excited to be here. When I introduce you to people, I say, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Jesse Core, but he has a bot named Bruce. Because when I was introduced to you, I was so confused. Who is Bruce? Who is Jesse? So we are here today with Jesse Core. He's the founder of Bruce, a verified intro network for licensed real estate, mortgage, title, and insurance professionals. He started the company after watching the people who deserve the most trust in their industries lose it constantly to a market that rewards advertising over reputation and a network that forgets who delivered. At Bruce, an AI voice agent conducts editorial interviews with members, captures their reputation in their own words, and routes verified introductions to the people who would value them most. The company is becoming a public benefit company, formalizing the mission it has always operated under. Bruce recently launched the tech department of One, an editorial series that has featured Lenny Rachitsky on what's actually changed about building software in 2026. Jesse has been building Bruce for 3 years from the San Francisco Bay Area alongside his co founders and key engineers. He's most interested in what happens when reputation becomes portable and what AI changes about the economics of trust. Okay, welcome, Jesse. Now that is really cool. I've been working with you, I've been referring you clients and friends and colleagues, but what I just read was really incredible. And once I like someone, I don't really go too deep because I trust them from when I meet and talk to someone, and I really trusted you right away. But and you also came through BNI, which is a trusted network, so it was
Yep.
easy. But I loved what you just said here. This is incredible for real estate agents and people in my business. Watching the people who deserve the most trust in their industries lose it constantly to a market that rewards advertising over reputation. I mean, you could not say it best. So can we, before we go into your history, I just want to break that down. Like, how did you arrive there and how did you even know that? Like, I'm a real estate agent of
Mm.
35 years and it's so tiring watching all of the social media stuff come up and you look at other people's and you're like, "Oh, that's so pretty, but I just don't know how or I don't have the bandwidth." And then you feel like you're behind the eight ball. So tell me how you even you knew not even coming from a real estate
Mm.
background.
Yeah, it came. It's really a summarization of over 1,000 meetings, and so when I look back over 3 years, I've literally met over 1,000 business owners, and I consider real estate agents and broke entrepreneurs because they're entrepreneurs at heart. You own something, you try and grow, and it came down to this. The pattern is very startling. The market's unfair. It rewards the best marketers and not the best service provider. Like again and again, because often I'd be like, wow, like I meet an amazing plumber, an amazing agent, amazing person. They're great at what they do, but I actually I'm scared for them. Are they going to make it? Because if their customers don't know they exist, they're going to die. No one's going to be a customer. No one's going to call them. And so that was kind of like the genesis of Bruce and a pattern I saw over and over again, especially in real estate. You can be an amazing realtor, an amazing person, but it takes a long time to build that reputation. It takes a long time for people to know who you are.
That's incredible. Well, you totally nailed it, like you said, with 1,000 conversations. So let's go back. Let's go back. Where is
Mhm.
Jesse from? What was it like growing up? And did you know you would become uh, not only a founder of this company, but you'll share with some other things that you've done, big things that you've done. So where did you grow up, and what was your trajectory to here?
Yeah, originally from Toronto. So I'm both Canadian and American. And growing up in Toronto, I've always loved sports, like hockey and other things. And I've always loved fixing cars and in some ways computers, like especially how do they work? How do you
Right.
build one? How do you build in software? And so in high school, I did co-ed cheerleading. That's still one of my favorite sports ever, where like literally you live and die as a team, and it's just an amazing sport, and literally people's lives are on the line. If you drop someone, that could be a major catastrophe, not just for the team, but for your partner, for the person. Um, Worked a lot of jobs. Like had my first job when I was 11. I lied about my age, said I was 12. And I've always loved working. And throughout my career, it's kind of a simple byline. there's a lot of places where I hated the job, but I love working there. And so if you look at that common path, what is it? It's camaraderie, it's culture, it's team, a sense of belonging, a sense of growth. And so everywhere I've gone is kind of carrying that thread, and eventually studied computer science in Canada, and then worked in Seattle as a software engineer for many years, and built 3 startups. And so this is my third one, and had a great exit for my second one. Sold it to Yahoo in 2014. As part of that, we moved to the Bay Area, and so that's a little bit about me.
Wow, that's incredible. So tell us about the startups. Which ones were they? What?
Yeah. So the first one I dropped out of college for a few years, where we it's kind of like Gas Buddy, but the idea is, hey, how do you find gas prices live online? And so this is way before Google Maps and other things. And so we work with a lot of gas companies to help consumers. In the end, they're like, well, we don't want to help consumers, but we love your interface. Can we buy the software to use it for our own data? And so we became more of a BI, business intelligence software company. And then I've always wanted to come to the States, and so I got to get a degree. And so I dropped out for 2 years to build that gas company. And then we went back to school, finished. And then I love travel, and I've always loved
Yeah.
Microsoft. And so Expedia spun off Microsoft. So I was an engineer for there for a while. And then traveling Japan, found these square looking barcodes. Like, what are those things? And yeah, and then now we know what they are. They call it QR codes. And so we built the whole company around how do we bring these to the world, and what tools will businesses need when it finally takes off? And so we literally spent about 2.5 years bootstrapped thinking about the future. And then when finally um, iPhone started taking off, a lot of things happened. Then we became the world's largest QR code company, had super scale. I think in the early days, we would make 20,000 QR codes per second. So think about that for
Whoa.
a second. In 1 second, there'd be 20,000 QR codes made. And and at the time, I didn't realize how big we were until
Wow.
I remember the CEO. I'm not going to name the company, but a CEO of a big telecom company in Japan. He actually called bullshit. He actually said, "I don't believe those numbers." And when he said that, that's when I knew, hey, I think we made it. Like, I think we are so
Wow.
big that they're saying our numbers are bullshit, and we're actually sandbagging at the time, because I was looking at the counters. Our counters are broken half the time, so I know the number's bigger. I just don't know what it is. And so, anyways, so yeah, that's a little bit about our history there.
So did you so you there they did have QR codes in
Mhm.
Japan and then you brought it
Yep,
here and then started your own company. And how
correct.
did you monetize? Do people buy QR codes or is it just something that you download? I don't exactly know.
Yeah, so we made a website, and we made something called an API, so computers can generate codes. It's free. What we charged for was tracking and the ability to change what a code does. And so normally, when you think about a link, we call it like it's called static. I mean, it doesn't change. So imagine like you remember back in the day, oh, download Android, download iOS, do this, right? And so the problem is, well, what happened if I made a mistake, especially in print? You can't undo that, and so that's very expensive. And so what we did was like, well, you know what? We should have a dynamic code where it links, like it's called a short link. But the idea here is dynamically change what it does in real time for what you need it to do. And so that's one of our inventions, and also makes the codes better because they're smaller, like the data you put inside. And so now when you make a QR code through us, we would have a short link that we can change what it does later. And then what happens is you only have one code, and then based on the phone you're scanning, we'll go to the right store. Like, is it iOS App Store, or is it Android Google Play Store, or is it a website? And also, let's say you made a mistake. A lot of times when you go to print, okay, I need to print something, but I don't know where it's going to land because the website's not right. I don't know the domain yet. And so we fix that because you can change it later. Whereas a lot of mistakes made in the past, where you have dead codes, you scan, it doesn't work because the website doesn't exist. And so our technology is really based on there's free codes, but if you want codes with analytics, the ability to change, ability to manage and scale, it's kind of like DocSend today. You think about DocSend is super popular. We actually had the same technology as DocSend, and that thing's huge. It's a part of Dropbox where you can embed links
Oh,
in emails, and so very similar to how DocSend works.
well, congratulations. So how did you pivot and how did you pivot from the QR code into Bruce and where did that come from? Where was it born from?
Yeah, so that's quite the journey. So when we got acquired by Yahoo, moved to the Bay Area. That was in Sunnyvale, and I was there for a while, 4 years, and then like my manager at the time was leaving for a company called Splunk, and so as a favor, I was like, hey, I don't mind joining you. And also, we had a great exit, so I think a lot of people were going to retire, including myself, and so I always felt like, oh, we had such a great team, such great potential, but we didn't really realize the potential of our culture. And so an opportunity came to start a mobile team at this company called Splunk. And my original 1 year stint became 5 years. And so I was there for five, and then another. I was like, okay, maybe it's time to finally retire or do something else. And so I left that job, and then an opportunity to build a new company, which is Brew. So I've always been driven by who's the underdog, who is unserved, and so in tech and in venture capital, they hate small businesses, and so there's a lot of good reasons for it. Small businesses half the U.S. economy, but they don't like it because they're hard to find, they're hard to sign up, and it's hard to charge big money for them because unlike enterprise software, like enterprise software by definition is 10,000 a year or higher annual license contracts. For a small business, that's really hard to do. It's really really hard to do, and so the cost of customer acquisition for customer small business is really hard. Anyway, so for me, I've always felt like that's an area I would love to help because it's underserved. The opportunity is huge, and with technology and with everything we can do, we can really make a difference. And so that was the beginning of how we thought about Bruce and how to bring that to them.
Well, it's incredible. So, um, describe the platform so people know what
Mhm.
Bruce is before we go into some more questions and dig in.
Yeah, I'll first start with a problem. So we first like looked at, as I said, like what is the biggest struggle of most business owners and entrepreneurs in general? It's like, hey, the market rewards the best marketers, not the best service providers. And so if you're a great service provider, like a realtor, a plumber, mortgage broker, how do you get out there? And it's going to be trust. Like word of mouth is everything. Like in our business and in most businesses, it's kind of like, hey, if you know someone and someone vouches, just like Debbie, you're amazing what you do. Thank you for the amazing interest. When you vouch for me and bring someone, they wholeheartedly trust me. Now I have a responsibility to do a good job. I have a responsibility to make sure that, hey, I can't, your integrity is really important. There's a part of responsibility on my part. So when you break that down, what is Bruce? It comes down to this. Imagine I had another Debbie, but it's the world's best networker like Debbie, but on steroids. And what I mean by that is this persona of the world's best networker. His name happens to be Bruce, but the key difference though is he can be in more places at one time, and he always remembers you. And so the idea here is, as Bruce meets someone, he'll ask some questions, get their story, learn about their customer, their market, what would their ideal intro partner be, and then as Bruce meets future people that fit that mold, he'll do a double opt-in intro. What we mean by that is Bruce would then say, "Hey Debbie, you mentioned you wanted to meet high-powered real estate agents outside the Bay Area. Great." And then as Bruce meets those people, he'll ask these people, "Hey, who's your ideal fit?" And then when he thinks, "Oh, Debbie might be a great fit," then he'll do a double opt-in intro by asking that person, "Do you want to intro to Debbie? Here's her qualifications." And then reach out to Debbie, you, and say, "Hey, Debbie, I met this person. Here's their qualifications." And if you both say yes, then he'll make the intro. And so there's this shared intent of connecting, maybe doing business, maybe learning about you. But either way, it's a warm intro. So there's no cold calling. And to me, like that's the best like super networker. That's why when I meet people like you, you're amazing because you really look out for us. You really think about us. And Bruce is like like that, but at a different scale. And so
Right.
so in essence, that's what Bruce does.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's been fun watching you grow with the dashboard and everything else. So you said that the market rewards advertising over reputation. What's the
Mhm.
moment you realized the system itself was broken?
Um, yeah. So when I think about our business, part of it was we work with a lot of small business to improve retention productivity. I'm like, this is a great business. This is an amazing owner. This owner really cares about their staff, but I don't think they're gonna make it. Like I literally sit there because the reason why they came to us and get some help is like they're struggling. Like business is not growing. It's hard getting customers. They have great staff. They have great service, but the marketing is really hurting them. And then I think about, okay, we're not an SEO company, we're not a marketing company, but I already can tell, like, okay, like, yeah, obviously you need customers to learn about you, but it's not instant. It's not like a fire hose. You can turn it on and boom, like people show up. It actually takes, like, you'd have to go back in time 2 years. Like, imagine go back in time 2 years and think about how do you generate content? How do you generate a following? And so it's almost too late. And so and I saw that again and again because by the time customers come to us, I'm like, wow, like I wish I met you 2 years ago because then like our platform would have been so much better. But B, you could also have fixed your reputation problem to have more business. So yeah, so it's kind of like these meetings and this pattern I saw again and again. Well, wow, this is every small business. Like it's not just this one. And then as I went to BNI and I met all these, I feel the same way. It's like BNI is great because you have a band of entrepreneurs. And let's face it, entrepreneur, it's a struggle no matter what, right? You could be like even Jensen at Nvidia calls it a struggle, right? So everyone's struggling, but at least you have a team, right? At least you have some a group of people. So yeah, so to me, it's this pattern I see again and again, and no one's helping in the way that I think we can help, and so that's why we started.
I love it. Well, it starts from your compassion for people, which I love. But it's so true with advertising. We're always being hit up. We're the little person. We're not a big person. We're
Mhm.
a little constantly the text message that comes through, buy this product, buy this, then you're like, okay, should I try that? Then it really doesn't get you anywhere. But they're constantly, it is like a water hose coming at you to buy this advertising. You need this, that, and the other thing. And that's what I love about Bruce. It's when we're on Bruce,
Mm.
we speak about our skills. We can network with people, and we can showcase our team members that we work with. So it's a client, yes, could give us a testimonial, but when your peers do that, it's even more elevated. So we're a bunch of peers together, a bunch of business people, entrepreneurs together, elevating one another. So I just, of course, love the collaboration because I'm all about collaboration. So Bruce uses AI voice agents to conduct editorial interviews. Why was preserving someone's actual voice and story so important to the platform?
I think we're all tired of AI. Like a year and a half ago, most people like, well, AI, what does that do? Now everyone's like, I'm just tired of AI. So I think we can all agree, like AI, they call it slop, right? Like it's just sloppy. Like it's just not. Um, it's just randomly spewing what it thinks. So that's why. However, when we think about Bruce and AI, it's not about what Bruce thinks. It's about how do we get the story of the person we're trying to help. And I think that's where AI is pretty magical because
Right,
like when I think about you, Debbie, you have so many amazing stories. You have so much history and experience and all these things. But how do we extract that? How do we,
right.
in natural way get that out and uh, write your story? And so I think that's one of our thoughts about Bruce and in AI. I don't want to get all technical. What's called inference. How do we infer something? And so very early on, I was like, wow, like inference is amazing. And so what if we can help people extract their story? And then once you have a story and it's factually correct, your story doesn't change. It just adds to it. So, example, where did you grow up when you were growing up? What was your favorite food? What were your favorite sport? That does not change. And so once we have that beautiful story, we keep adding to it. We can now look at it from a different angle. And so, example, if I'm looking at it from a prospective customer angle, prospective partner with inference, as technology gets better, I can relook at a history that we've done in the past and have an amazing way of viewing that and making an intro. And so to me, that's really one of our secret sauces of Bruce is like using inference, but also extracting a great story, which is not easy to do. As simple as that sounds, I would say uh, having an interviewer interview someone like you're amazing at what you do, but that's not something that you could just like pick up out of nowhere. It takes a lot of experience.
Well, you got Bruce or whoever drafted the blog. I mean, just put my story together so eloquently and just hit on. I mean, it could go on for days, right? But it was you just got the concept and pulled it in. So, how do you even train a bot to do what it does? How is
Yeah.
there? I mean, I know it's probably a long
Yeah.
story, but what's the shorter story?
The short story is literally I sat there, met great people like you, and I've probably done 500 live interviews with Bruce listening. And every time I'm doing small tweaks, I see the patterns, and again we're tweaking. Like I've met a lot of great interviewers. I think in the photo earlier we showed Adam Savage, so he's from MythBusters, and so he's one of the first person I ever interviewed, and
Okay.
I'm really grateful for him because he gave me a lot of advice on how to interview. Because I'm about to interview him, and I'm like, dude, you're my first interview ever, and so I could use your help. It's oh yeah, let me tell you, and I was so grateful for the advice he shared. But basically, his advice was, how do you get out of the way? How do you like tee up a great story to allow your guests share what they want to share and get out of the way? And so that really helped me because like he's one of my heroes. I love his shows. I love so much stuff. So when I think about Bruce, it's really the culmination of like probably the 1,000+ interviews I've did outside of Bruce,
Okay.
asking questions, customer discovery, and all these things. But then as we're building Bruce, constantly tuning, thinking about what's a great way to ask a story. Because in the end, there's a goal here. The goal is like, hey, like when you're doing a call with Bruce, like Bruce is like literally, I'm here to help you grow your business. I'm here to help you network and meet other people. I'm here to help when someone looks you up. I could do you, do a great job to represent you. So the incentives are very aligned. And so at that point, unless you don't want to grow your business, then why call, right? And so at least the motivation's there. And so now the question is, and it's going to be very standard. So you think about any playbook, it's going to be like, well, really simple. It's like, okay, what do you do? Who do you serve? What separates you from the competition? And what's the long term view for you? And then there'll always be some outlier question at the end, some personal thing. So anyway, so like I know the framework's going to be roughly that for any great interview. Then now, how do you make it natural? How do you make it breathe? And again, get out of the way. Allow someone to share their story. And it's been great. It's been really fun to watch. And yeah, we're constantly tuning them.
So when you're doing it, when you're having interviews, are you recording them all so it's going into your big database?
So the way Bruce works is obviously he's a voice bot. You talk to him. We call it transcript, and so the transcript has all the text of what was said, and we look at the timing. Like, hey, when a question was asked, because AI technology today is slow. It's not like human speech where we can pattern interrupt each other. So because of that, we have to purposely be a little bit dumb the way he talks, and so it's unlike you and me. We can go back and forth, rapid fire, change. We can do all these things, but with AI, it's not there yet. And so because of that, we need to have a tempo and pace of a conversation in it still feels natural. And so that's
Right.
that's very in tune. So that's why every time there's an upgrade or change, we're always looking at, hey, is the tempo off? Is there an opportunity to make it more they call it like text is like turn to speech, like how much time before you turn and
Okay.
respond. And because a lot of times people might have a little delay, like, I'm thinking, and then Bruce needs to decide, okay, are you done talking or not? Right. So anyway, so there's all these little things like that.
Right.
But yeah, but we try to make it natural. And so yeah, it's constant innovation.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, it really does feel like Bruce does capture. When I explain it to people, he's going to create a bio for you and you can change it, but every
Yeah,
time he does something, he does it right from the get go. So it's pretty incredible. Trust is everything in real estate, mortgage, title, and insurance. How does Bruce verify reputation differently than LinkedIn reviews or referral groups?
great question. Yeah, so it's actually based on first principles of how do we have trust in the real world. And so if you work backwards, it comes down to when you first join something, how do we know you're real? So as an example, we look at bona fides, right? Okay, are you credentialed? Do you have a license? Is it real? Do you belong to a networking group? And that's why when we started Bruce, we purposely started with people in BNI. If you're in BNI, we think that's a great start because BNI vets you. There's accountability, there's reputation. So there's all these things. And so we do look at which organizations you belong to, what are you licensed, all these things. But that's not all. Just because you belong to BNI, just because you have a license doesn't mean you're great. And so from there, Bruce does a few things. One is he'll interview you, look at the quality of the interview, look at the quality of what was said. Also, when he makes intros, and when he makes these things, then he'll ask the person, "Hey, how did that go?" And then from there, it's obvious because a good example is like I'll use you, like Debbie. You're amazing at what you do, very trustworthy. And when you make an intro, it's really obvious that people trust you. That's why they're willing to talk to me. And then and of course, the repetition's everything, right? And so
Right.
so Bruce
Absolutely.
acts very similarly. Like basically when he first meets you, checks the things he can, and then as he makes intros and as he does things, he looks at, hey, what happened after? Did it lead to a deal? Did it Was it a successful outcome? And so yeah, so he looks at all those things.
I love it. All right, we're going to go to commercial break. We'll be right back with Jesse Core and Bruce the bot.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate complete them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. Yeah, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Success. I'm your host, Debbie DiMaggio. We are here with Jesse Chor of BruceBot. So you've talked about portable reputation. What does that mean and why does it matter in a world increasingly shaped by AI?
Yeah. So let's say imagine you're great at what you do and your reputation doesn't precede you. What I mean by that is you just meet someone off the street and you have no idea who this person is. They could be they could be an Olympian, it could be a world famous surgeon, it could be like the best real estate agent ever, but you have no idea. So you're literally starting from zero, and sometimes even negative, because a lot of times people have bias and they don't know. And so for us at Bruce, we're thinking about, okay, how do we make how do we make reputation and trust a little bit more transportable? You're not starting from zero, but you're starting from somewhere. And so in today's world, luckily we have people like you, Debbie, where hey, when you make an intro, at least I have that, a little bit of street cred, where hey, there's a trusted intro. At least they're willing to hear me out. But I still have to explain myself a bit. I still have to, spend a little bit of time doing discovery and sharing. And so at Bruce, we thought a lot about, hey, how can we make your reputation a little bit more portable? And that's why I had the idea of a baseball card. And so when I think about growing up as a kid, I collect a lot of baseball cards, hockey cards, and if you think about it, what does that really mean? So you got a rookie card, you're brand new, you look at the back, there's nothing on it, no stats, right? But imagine like you're a few years later, you got another card, but now you got your batting average, you got your stats on there, and that's meaningful because it's kind of like your resume. And so at Bruce, we thought about the same thing. Well, what if when you join the platform, sure, we do discovery, we make intros, we talk to you, but what if everyone had a baseball card with your key stats, and then now when Bruce makes an intro, you trade cards. Like, hey, I give you my card, you give me yours. And then the last thing is, of course, when you think about building your team, kind of like sports fantasy or other things, you have a deck of cards, and you think about, okay, who's going to play what role. And
Right.
so the way Bruce is structured, it's literally decks of cards with different roles, and then now you stack the deck however you want to do it. And then the best part about connecting with people, you're trading cards now, meaning I'm putting my card in your deck in mine. My dream is to get my card in everyone's deck because now they're looking at my face, looking at my stats. And last thing is, in a lot of businesses, people have different designations. Like right now, I know you serve Bay Area, LA, and some other places, but I don't. It's not top of mind for me what other areas you serve. But imagine on the back of your card, I can see that. Oh, I didn't know Debbie does Texas. I didn't know that she serves all these other areas too. And so in the world of networking, that's huge because sometimes it's go time. I got 30 seconds to make a call. Who am I gonna bring in?
Right.
And if I could check your stats really quickly because you're my alpha, like you're the one I always want to think about. Now I
Yeah.
can. And so that's how we make trust and reputation transportable.
Every time I talk to you, I learn something new. The last time I learned something, I hit number one. I didn't know I didn't know it existed, and then I was like, "Well, of course I have to be number one." And I'm trying to get my insurance person to verify all our deals right
Yes.
now, so I get to number one again. So I remember when you explained, well, when I introduce you, I always say, "You just need to join. Don't even. You can talk to him if you want. Just join."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Just join. It's amazing. If you're in the real estate space, just join." So so I did when you spoke about when I first met you, you spoke about these baseball cards. And I understood the concept, but now I'm seeing them on our platform, on our
Mhm.
dashboard, these baseball cards. So in my people are visual and can I'm here, Debbie DiMaggio, and then I have my
Mhm.
title, my lender, and my
Yep.
insurance, my home warranty, let's say. But but then I know I'm connected to other people, other insurance people, other realtors, because I do refer around. I'm actually just launching, my son just launched a website for me, referraldebbie.com, for agents around the globe because I have that network, but I didn't have anywhere to house them. So now on this website that we've just created, it will be there. But I notice when I'm on my dashboard, I see the four people that I see, but I do not see the other people, Nick and Scott and all the other people that are part of my team. Where do I see that? Where would someone see that?
Yeah, so you open the deck, and so when we have the 4 quadrants, basically
Oh,
you're seeing the face card, and you tap on that, and they'll open the deck, and then you'll see all the people in the deck. And so, as example, I know you connect with a lot of real estate agents in different areas, and so on your the top of the deck right now would be the number one agent that Bruce thinks is number one. But if you open that, it'll show all the agents that are related to you.
and then they can be in my deck. And when I accept, do I
Mhm.
go into their deck as well?
Yep,
So
exactly. It's a trade. Yeah, so we call it a trade. So meaning, um, their card is in your deck and your deck is in their card as long as you both said yes. And so, and that's why that's the beauty of Bruce. Like, hey, like in the end, there's a shared intent. Hey, I want to connect with you, and we do
right.
it by trading cards. And when you trade, now your card is in their deck, and their card is in yours.
All right, so I just need to click on my face and the card will turn around and I'll
Yeah,
see.
and that's a new
Or
feature, and that's why. Yeah. So that
I'm
so
just
that's
living,
new.
I'm just
Yeah,
following
yeah,
along.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I love it. Watching you grow, it's incredible. A lot of people fear AI will replace human connection. You seem to believe it can strengthen trust. Explain that philosophy.
Yeah, I would say, there's a lot of talk. Is AI gonna, take over your job? And I like maybe, but I love the way Jensen the phrase AI will not take your job, but a person who knows it well might. And so I do think AI is real. There's no question. Is it going to take over everyone's job? No, I don't think so. And so I like to at least start with this. So, um, I love mentoring people, and so as someone who's hired well over 1,000 engineers, like I can share, like I do a lot of career growth and other things, and so I would posture there's one job for sure AI can never take, and that is the job of the entrepreneur. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're here to build a business, you'll see a gap in the market. You should be greedy and excited for AI. It's like, wow, this thing's like can do anything.
Yeah.
And I recognize the problem. I recognize the underserved market. I can help these people, help this industry with AI. So I think the entrepreneur, they might have to change their job a little bit. Like there might be some, yeah, but that's the role of entrepreneur. So anyway, so number one, entrepreneurs I think are very safe by nature. Two is, let's say you're not an entrepreneur, then I'm a big fan of being an intrapreneur. So throughout my career, I would say actually I'm an intrapreneur at heart, meaning
Yeah,
I'm an entrepreneur within a big company. I leverage the resources of a big company. We all serve the same customer, but
right.
my domain ownership expertise is more like an entrepreneur. So I think if you always wear those two hats, you'll be fine no matter where you go. And it's a very transportable skill. So let's say you do work at a company, you're an entrepreneur, you get laid off, something changes. Hey, you know what? It's time to move on to greener pastures and take the skill set and knowledge you have, which is now AI hybrid, meaning you've really learned how to use these things. And that's a hot market. If you are really well versed on how to use AI, improve productivity and efficiency, who does not want you? Like think about that. Like who does not want you? And so yeah, so I actually think in the end, I do think there are going to be a lot of new jobs, a lot of changes, and it's real.
So I've been using chat, then I watched a
Mhm.
YouTube video, and I moved over to Claude, so I use both.
Mhm.
For beginners, or what would be the next step? Where should I go to start learning? What are some prompts that we can use in AI to help us in our businesses?
Here's the best thing about AI. I think ask AI to teach you. So don't you don't even have to worry about that. I think like just tell it, go, hey, I really believe in AI. I want to go all in and I want to learn more. Tell me, how do I get started? What's the best way? And then like if you start with a goal in mind and work backwards to that, AI can really help. The problem is if you don't have a goal, then make your goal to find a goal, if that makes sense. Because I think if you're randomly like spitballing things, that's not great. It's just going to be all over the place. But if you have a very clear mindset and goal, then AI can really help you as you're kind of like waddling through things. So yeah, like I don't even want to throw. There's a lot of tools out there.
Okay,
And there's a lot of great ones, but I think in the end, hey, ask AI for suggestions on how to really because there's a lot more things than just chat. I think what most people don't realize now is like you can chat, but it forgets who you are. It's called the context window size, so there's a limit to how much it can remember. And the problem is if you go too long, it doesn't remember everything you said in the past. And so there's great ways around that. And that's where AI gets really magical on what it can do. And I would say, yeah, leverage AI to teach you how to use it better.
it's it well, before I make
Mhm.
this other comment, what you said, it's not chat. Is there another AI app that we
Yeah.
should be using that remembers?
There is. I don't get too technical, but there's like Cloud Code is huge now, and so that's used more for developers. I give you an example. So today, when you use standard chat, you got a little window, right? You might upload some files, in that little window. The problem is, well, after a while, it kind of forgot what I just said. Hey, Bruce, or it's not. Hey, ChatGPT. Hey, Claude. I said it's red. How can you tell me it's green? You forgot, right? And so that's very annoying. And also, what if you have like 1,000 files? What if you have all these things? It's like, well, you're not gonna sit there and upload 1,000 files. It's really hard. And so there are new tools like Claude Code as an example. What it does is you run Claude Code command, so it's like a terminal window, but you give it a file folder, and it will open every file in that folder and under it. And so if you point to a root folder, like you think about Dropbox, you think about Google Drive, doesn't matter. But imagine you put in all your real estate deals, you put in everything in there. And then now you can talk to AI just like you normally do typing, but it has access to all your files. And then now when you tell it to make something, it'll make it just a file for you. And so in computers, everything actually is a file. Like you think about a website, you think about a picture,
Right.
video, every file. And so now you can give it all your files that has all your data. It'll look at these things, be smarter, and then now you can have it make a file for you. So it could be a presentation deck, it could be an image, it could be even like a specification of something, architecture diagram, anything. And so I think that's the next wave of iteration of interactivity for AI, where it's not just about some chat window. It's actually more about, we call it console, like a terminal where you can access your computer.
So Claude Code is kind of
Cloud Code's one of them. There's open code. There's tons of these. So that's kind of like the new wave of interface. And I think that is directionally the right way to go because again, you can now access all your files, which is what you want to do, right? Because imagine sit there, oh, I don't know what to upload. Oh, do I do everything? Well, now you do. You just give it the root folder and let it
right.
find and
I don't
handle it.
know how I did it, but I this was the shortest video that I watched, and I kept having to stop it to go to the next thing. And somehow, I don't know how, I got Claude to clean up my desktop with all my millions of files
Mhm.
and it into files. Now I don't know what's in those files, but it's there, and I to find it next time, but it's amazing. But I think what you said, and I keep forgetting every time I ask a question, people will say, "Well, ask Claude or ask whoever." So, it's and what you said, you can't ask it a bunch of questions. You want to be really clear and concise what your question is. So for me, it might be, what is the best way to learn AI in with my real estate hat on? So what's something I can do? If you can give me something for the next 5 days, I can do one action every day for 5 days to get better and stronger using Claude. It came to me when you said to be clear. And I talk about that in my book, Mindset in Motion, that
Yeah.
the one is your first step is to have a goal and be very clear about that. So that is wonderful. All right, let's go on to the next. What have you learned after 3 years of building Bruce in the Bay Area startup ecosystem that surprised you the most?
Um, I think human relationship and trust, it's something I've always known, but I
Hmm.
didn't know how to put it in words, and I didn't know how to put it in action. And what surprised me was joining BNI as an example. So we both belong to BNI, and I feel like in Silicon Valley, it's one of the most, or sorry, in tech in general, it's one of the most hidden gems there is. And so I almost like don't want to tell anyone because I feel like, oh man, we're like kidding in a candy store. So I give you an example. Um, the reason why in tech in general they don't like small business owners, it's hard to find an owner. It's hard to meet with one. Can you imagine cold calling a business owner, a restaurant, construction? They don't have time for you. You can't even find their phone number half the time, right? It's like try calling a restaurant. Like it's just you're not going to get through. And so, like, how can I get a hold of an owner? How can I talk to them and they'll actually listen to me? So there's no great way. But then when I discovered BNI and I discovered like they always talk about, hey, find people where they congregate, find people where they meet. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I discovered BNI, it's like not only is BNI great because you have owners, there's culture and trust. And so if you can join that and be a part of it and be a contributing member, like now I have full faith and confidence, just like you. I can drop in any city in the United States and I can confidently tell you, hey, you know what? In 20 minutes, I can meet with a few owners and they'll have coffee with me and they'll give me the time of day. Right. And
Right.
so to me, that's magical to have that ability. And it's such a gift. And I think even people in BNI, they don't know how much of a gift that is. Because coming from tech, I know how hard it is to be able to have that. And so that's why every day, like I join a chapter on my membership and I feel like, wow, this is such an amazing thing. And for people like have been there forever, they actually don't know how good it is. And so,
Right.
yeah. So for me, that was really surprising. Where hey, there's actual structures and organizations that can really help that I had no idea. And I was really lucky. Called Jenna, who belonged to BNI, invited me to my first meeting. I thought it was a cult at first. Like, what is this thing? Like, for meeting every week. But it was honestly life changing and very eye opening to see such a community exist.
I mean, it just has given it gives everyone, and I explain that it just gives everyone the opportunity to talk to anyone throughout the entire world. I
Hmm.
popped on the one in Japan once. It was 3 in the morning, but I get up early, so I said, "Oh, that's fine. I'll show up." So, you can meet people from around the world, and you have access. And people know for the most part, if you're in BNI, there's things that you have to do. It's not easy. You have to do the work. So you do know that the person will be credible for the most part. And so I always talk about when I'm podcasting, when I'm on a guest on a podcast, I'm always talking to my 25-year-old self. When I was 25, I was so lost. And you said you like mentoring as much as I do. And I love to help people, and I don't want them to be frustrated, or you go to this great college and then you're like, okay, now what am I going to do? What's my dream? Most of us didn't know where we would be when we were younger, that we'd be where we are today and doing what we're doing. So what would you tell your 25-year-old self? Or maybe it was your 18-year-old self because you started so young. So you're a young person before you became a success.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I always feel like I am what I am because of the trials and tribulations I went through. So if I had told myself, don't do this, don't do that, then maybe I don't get the lessons learned. If that makes sense. And so that's kind of tough. But if I could kind of encourage myself, I would say, or say something, I would be like, just go for it.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like, like I think the worst things in life we can agree is hesitation is the
Right.
worst thing. Like obviously, if you're about to do some life changing thing, hey, that might be yeah. Spend a minute, think about it. Like don't rush into it. But I think doing nothing is often worse than doing the wrong thing because then you can course correct. And so I would say I would just double down on that a little bit. Fortunately,
Right.
I don't spend a time lingering on things, but certainly there are some examples where I can always think of. But yeah, I think just go for it is what I would say.
I love it. Well, you said two things that I talk about in my book is just uh, once you're in movement, the confidence will come later. Just start doing it, like you were saying. Just move, just get going. And then the second concept is the pivot and adjust. You might be going down one direction and then you have to pivot, and it's okay because something else came along. So, your Tech Department of One series
Hmm.
featured Lenny, I won't say his last name because you'll have to say
Yeah.
it, discussing what changed about software building in 2026. What are the biggest
Mm.
shifts founders need to understand right now?
It's huge. Really grateful. Shout out to Lenny for joining. I'm for those of you who don't know, world's most prolific tech podcaster there is. So if you think about in the world of tech, if you want someone to discuss about the future trends, Lenny is it. And like he's like the Joe Rogan of tech for podcasting. Anyway, so yeah, so the series is really this. So I think AI has come to the point where it's not just for tech people. It's actually like my wife's an accountant. She's a controller, CFO, and I feel like she's all in on it now. She's using a lot of AI tools. So it's not just for people that code and in tech, but I like to give this analogy. So imagine you're a tradesperson, like a plumber or whatever. You're the best at what you do, but you have a toolbox and it's locked and you don't have the key. Like that sucks, right? You can't do your job. And so I think in the world today, there's a little bit of technology getting in the way for everyone. Like it could be IT help. Like my dad always calls me, my mom, oh, my computer's not working. Like, oh, so frustrating. And even I can't figure out sometimes. Like, man, my iPhone, how come the video is not working? It's strange, right? So anyway, so I think in the world of tech, there's always something a little bit in the way. If you could just free that, you can now use your skill, open that toolbox, and have more business. And so I think with AI, it's literally that today. So I'll give you an example. Maybe it's as simple as, can I get a little help fixing my website? Can I get a little help on my socials? Can I get a little help having an email responder? Can I have a little, whatever it is?
Wow.
AI is amazing now because it's the interface is what is human, right? You talk to it. You don't
Right.
code, you talk to it. And so because it's so accessible, it can really that's what we call a tech department of one. So most entrepreneurs, small business owners, they can't afford an IT person. It's really expensive.
Right.
They can't afford like even getting time with them is hard. But
Right.
imagine with a little like AI help, it can unlock and free these things. And so that's what that series is about. It's like sharing inspirations and stories and letting regular people know that hey, if you want to spend a weekend learning a little bit about tech and AI, it can actually help further you unlock that toolbox. Meaning, if you're a plumber, electrician, real estate agent, mortgage broker, title, insurance, whatever, it can really help you grow your business and get that tech out of the way. And now it's an advantage because your competitors have the same problem, but
Right.
now you know how to solve it better. And yeah, so the series is really around that, finding great leaders who have these stories and know these things and can hopefully inspire and share a little bit about what people can do.
I love it. Okay, you've just given me, not that I don't have enough to do already. Now I have like six more assignments that I've given myself based on what you said. I'm going to put in my email signature and say, change this, make it better.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, Jesse, this was incredible. How do people get a hold of you?
LinkedIn is the best. Yeah, if you like me, ping me on LinkedIn. Happy to engage. Also, if you want to come to BruceBot, you can go to our website, bruce.bot. I'm there. I'm happy to connect and engage with people.
Awesome. This was incredible. Well, I will put your contact information in the blog you and
Mhm.
Bruce wrote about me. Now I just send the blog and I said, read the blog or not, but join at the top. So if you're in the real estate industry right now, I'm sure you're going to grow into many other fields, but right now in the real estate field, you are at the top of your game. This is incredible. I am so fortunate to know you, Jesse, and thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, Debbie. You're an amazing, generous person. Really happy to be here, and thank you for all you do too.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbie DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.